Good evening. We're back. Technical difficulties and all. We are SEC After Dark, man. Stephen Willis, Jeb Beecham, Jake Thomas, and of course myself, Corey Burton, joining you each and every Wednesday night here on the Bleav Network in conjunction with the Y'all's Conference Network. Before we kick this thing off, how's everybody doing?
Oh, so well.
Pretty good. I got some new fancy graphics tonight we're going to break out for people.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him in pre-production, so it's like I'm super jazzed. So yeah,
Wait just a second. Don't we have some kind of important game this weekend? I'm kind of lost here.
We have the biggest game in college football this season this weekend. So.
That's right. LSU is playing Alabama Saturday night.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Nice. That will be.
Set yourself up for that one, Jeb.
Hey, that'll be a nice cool down from the good game. Don't worry.
You know what's really funny? In the college football playoff rankings, every team that we represent is in the top 11 in college football.
That's right.
Yeah.
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah. And John,
awesome.
we'll count him. That's number 5. So LSU over in the chat.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, just wanted to remind you guys that we are brought to you by betonline.ag. It remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, game trends at BetOnline as your continued source for all your sports wagering info. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. It's always the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports and events, whether that's NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, golf, whatever it is you desire, MLS, La Liga, political rallies, or even college football, maybe that a little bit. So head to betonline.ag, join, receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure you use that promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, it's where the game starts, guys. It's an exciting week. You see the record scrolling across the bottom, so you're going to start to pick up on Becky and Steve. You're going to start to fade Jake and I. And we're going to get this thing rolling, though. So, a few big games this week. A couple things here. So, it's exciting, man. It really is. It's exciting to see, and I haven't been this excited all season for college football. So here we go.
Before we talk about that, let's talk about the biggest story out there, and it's obviously me on a bye week. No, I'm just kidding. It's Lane Kiffin and his endorsement of Deion Sanders for the Auburn coaching job, in an absolutely bizarre twist. Yeah, Auburn has been insufferable on social media. I mean, they're just coming out. Yeah, LSU fans, Texas A&M fans, everybody wants Lane Kiffin out of Oxford. Lane Kiffin's not going to Auburn. You know why he's not going to Auburn, Corey?
Because he endorsed Coach Prime?
No. Lane Kiffin wants to probably be the next coach at Alabama. Do you think that Alabama is going to hire the former Auburn coach or the Auburn coach to be their head coach?
Not a chance.
No.
Not even a little bit.
No.
Do you think Ole Miss would match Alabama's offer?
I think Ole Miss can go up to about 10-5. I don't think they'll be willing to go above that.
Now, we were talking NFL vibes a little bit earlier. I mean, does Lane Kiffin go back to the NFL? Does he? I mean, he already flamed out once.
Yeah, but he was 30 years old. You know, I think he could work in this modern NFL because remember, whenever he coached it, it was that old stuff. Lane Kiffin was in there running the I formation out in Oakland. Now it would be a little bit different. And if Cliff Kingsbury can coach in the NFL, Lane Kiffin can.
Well, Kingsbury's not for long here if you pay attention to the Arizona Cardinals. But I, for one, I think he could do – I think if he went to the Carolina Panthers, he'd be reunited with Matt Corral. I would, for my Dynasty Fantasy League sense, I would love to see him go to Houston and take over and turn Davis Mills into a legitimate quarterback. That would help me tremendously. Or go to the Chicago Bears and make Justin Fields what Justin Fields needs to be. So John says there were rumors when Orgeron became coach at LSU, Kiffin was about to take the Tigers OC job with Bama boosters, and Brass told him he'd never coach at Bama if he took that job.
Yeah, Orgeron also tried to hire him at Ole Miss, but that fell through as well. So, I mean, I guess it's like something recognizes game in that situation.
Yeah, it might have kept Orgeron around longer.
Yeah, let me say something here. I saw Steve kind of got into like a little Trotter war with some other fan bases today, but Steve, you're absolutely correct, because people are saying that the Auburn job right now is better than the Ole Miss job, but honestly, they're kind of equal now, in my opinion, and really it's going to be equal everywhere because of the transfer portal, because of the NIL deals and stuff. So that's going to change on where anybody goes in the future, for sure.
Yeah, if you look at the coaching situation as it is, and you have a mindset of anything pre-2018, if that's the way you look at coaching at college football and all that, you're already behind the 8 ball. The new coach is not going to succeed because you are already thinking backwards. Everything changed in 2019. Lane Kiffin knows that, and with the 12-team playoff, now all of a sudden you can't even use the card of Ole Miss can't win a national championship, because 2 out of the last 3 years he would have been in the 12-team playoff, and he only has to wait 2 more years to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly. So while it seems it's now more than ever a lateral move, when it used to be, hell, people would leave Ole Miss in a heartbeat to go to Auburn.
To Auburn,
but that's not
Tommy Tuberville did that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the case anymore because of the transfer portal, because of the new 12-team playoff, because of the way things are. He can assemble the same level of talent. Hell, look at what he's got now.
Yeah.
Well, also you need to look, whenever I was at Ole Miss, let's say 2006, that time frame. So that was like 16 years ago. Good grief, I'm getting old. But
is that BC?
Yeah. Ole Miss's budget. Ole Miss's budget.
Jake's caught on. I love it.
Yeah. Ole Miss's budget 16 years ago was $30 million. Their whole athletic budget for all the teams in it. Now it is $130 million. It is like $25 million below the Auburn athletic budget. And it's also in a position where Auburn has more sports than Ole Miss has. They're essentially on even footing financially. Everybody talks about potential and the money that Auburn has. Auburn had that same money for the last 3 coaching hires, period. So anything new hasn't happened. It's just magically going to happen. I have a video that's coming out Friday on the Locked On Ole Miss channel that is essentially just nailing all of this stuff home. It's like, the title of it is like, what, me worried? You know, and why Ole Miss fans shouldn't be worried about the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, again, I just don't see – I mean, I could see anybody coming in and succeeding at Auburn. I think the one thing that they look at is, can they hire good staff? We know Lane Kiffin can hire good staff. But, hell, the main thing with Deion is they don't think he can hire good staff. No, I don't buy that. I think he'd hire great staff.
What does that mean whenever Auburn uses that code? Because that feels like code for something. Because there's a bunch of NFL guys on Deion's staff at Jackson State.
It's a cop-out is what it is. It's a cop-out.
Right.
Because the way that recruiting staffs are developed now, a lot of the on-field coaches aren't really recruiting as much as they were. They travel a lot, but they're really, like, a lot of the legwork now is being done by these 15, 20-person recruiting staffs, which – like when I was coming through Georgia, the recruiting staff was 3 students and Coach Garner, the defensive line coach, and his secretary. Like that was it. And then you had
know what it was at Ole Miss in 2006. It was a guy named Kent McLeod and like 2 students.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was like everywhere. Now it's like you have a creative marketing director, you have a player personnel that scouts the transfer portal. Like it's starting to look like an NFL front office. You have a whole scouting department which is just tagged recruiting instead of scouting. You have somebody manning. You have a team of people manning the transfer portal. You have a team of people managing the high school side of it, and then I'm sure within that team you have somebody managing the junior colleges. They get all the information, so all the coach has to do is walk out of his office, grab a folder with his itinerary. he goes and shakes babies and kisses hands and gets him to sign. So it's a lot different. So you mean to tell me that if you have Coach Prime and Matt Rule standing in front of you, who are you going with? I'm going with Coach Prime.
I think it's going to come down to Coach Prime and Hugh Freeze. I think those are going to be the two options. And one of my favorite jokes right now, we all know that Steve has favorite jokes, and that is Auburn fired the Arkansas
That is the
State
Atlantic
coach.
will beat Kentucky before the Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Atlantic will beat Florida before Kentucky, actually. But
Mhm.
but the Auburn Tigers hired the Arkansas State coach. The Auburn Tigers then fired the Arkansas State coach so they could hire the Arkansas State coach. Well, the Auburn Tigers just fired the Arkansas State coach, and they want to hire the Arkansas State coach. No joke. That Hugh Freeze needs to happen at Auburn just for that joke.
Yeah.
That would be Butch Jones currently, though, right?
Yeah, but Hugh Freeze coached at Arkansas State, Brian Harsin at Arkansas State, and so did Gus Malzahn.
Sounds to me like Auburn is recruiting or looking, has a little team of people that's looking at Arkansas State coaches.
Yeah,
Well,
seriously.
Didn't they just try to hire Arkansas's AD? So they must love that state.
Yeah.
They settled on Mississippi State's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
He
Arkansas kept theirs.
loved Mike Leach so much he decided to go to Auburn.
He may bring Mike Leach with him.
I know.
No.
I don't in any way believe Lane Kiffin's going to move over, but what about a different SEC coach? Do you think Mark Stoops might? I kind of feel like he's peaked at Kentucky. I mean, honestly, Kentucky's good. He's built a good program.
I don't
I just
think
don't
so.
think
I'd be
he's ever
surprised.
surprised Tennessee, Florida.
Yeah. I have seen Mark Stoops' name in Nebraska circles here lately, so I don't know if that's a good fit, but I've seen a lot of people.
I would. Yeah, I don't.
like.
I don't think an
may lead
SEC
the conference.
I don't think an SEC coach is going to go to another SEC school. I think it's going to
I don't
be
see it.
too much of a value that the school everybody can pay and get to a certain amount of money, and the school that's hiring him, they're going to have to go above that. There's no margin for error. There's not really as much value there. I honestly, I don't even think if Clark Lee was offered by Florida necessarily could hire Clark Lee away from Vanderbilt.
But so it's just about
That might
money.
be the one exception.
I mean,
Yeah, it might be, but that might be hyperbole and me talking a little bit too much about it. But I genuinely don't think SEC to SEC moves in the coaching ranks is going to happen. There's too much money.
Well, I mean,
Everybody's
league-
rich.
Everybody's rich. Everybody's got facilities. Everybody is pretty
Yeah.
damn good. If you
you
think
don't think
about
he
it.
wants championships? I feel
Minus
like he
Vandy.
just have a better chance at Auburn. At Kentucky,
Vandy's
I think he could
pretty sporty.
he could stay there for 10 years and be happy. But what if he actually wants to win? I just don't feel like he's going to be able to do it at Kentucky.
I just don't.
Well,
I'm
in
with you,
Auburn,
Jeb.
you
I
got
don't-
18 games.
Yeah. Yeah, in less than 2 years. But
Yeah.
I'm with you, Jeb. I don't see Kentucky ever getting over that hump of beating, Georgia and Tennessee, to get to the SEC championship game on the Eastern side.
No, I don't either. But and like I said, he has built a solid program at a place where there wasn't a lot of solid football. So I'm sure they're very happy with him, and they'll pay him to keep him around. But
I mean,
Who wants
Joker
to-
Phillips.
Who wants to hear my conspiracy theory?
what's that?
You got to get your tinfoil hat first, though.
Yeah.
I think
Auburn
at Faultfield Metal Man can provide that for you.
Yeah. Auburn desperately
Yeah.
wants Cadillac Williams to win games. So they have an excuse to hire him because he would be an Auburn guy.
They certainly would.
I mean,
Uh,
they're taking
Gene
the
Chizik. Yeah, they've done worse.
dude. They're taking the Jimmy Leonard Wisconsin approach here.
Yeah, I think there's a chance they want to give Cadillac Williams a chance to win games. Because if Cadillac Williams, I'm not saying it's going to happen. Let's say Auburn beats Alabama. There's no way Auburn cannot not hire Cadillac Williams.
That's a good.
what
point.
if he wins out?
Yeah, I mean,
He could.
Yeah.
That would be fun. I know
yeah,
Auburn.
you got a running back coach that's going to hand the ball to Tank Bigsby for 30 times a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could work. They get a little fired up on defense. Yeah. Auburn's not good, they're still not going to be good, but hiring Cadillac as an interim coach almost feels like a trap. It does. Because any success that he has, John Cohen's already behind the 8 ball and has to make that hire. And if Cadillac doesn't work out, if Cadillac doesn't work out, John Cohen takes the blame for it.
Hey, Cadillac will get his guys fired up for the Iron Bowl. That is a guarantee. So
yeah, I'm not saying they would, but if Auburn beats Alabama in that Iron Bowl, you're going to have people pressuring for that to happen.
Very precarious.
They hired Gene Chizik, who won a national championship down there, and he had like 3 wins or 4 wins at Iowa State.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother him. It's more important that it's an Auburn man taking that job.
By the way, when we have more time to discuss this, I would tell you the story about the thoughtful metal man. So.
Right. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Is he your cousin or something?
Well, I think he is, but there is actually a story. There's actually a story behind the thoughtful metal man. So. All
right, Faultville Metal Man, congratulations. Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah.
We hired Cam Newton.
No doubt. Yeah. You got him for a bargain.
Yeah. That's right. Matt Rule, I have a hard time with that. Like, seeing him do well at Baylor and then seeing him just completely whiff in the NFL. Just the two extremes there. I just don't feel like he would do well at a place like Auburn.
Saban whiffed in the NFL.
Pretty bad.
Not as bad as Matt Rule.
But one was in Miami and one was in Carolina.
Carolina don't have any talent.
Yeah.
Matt Rule is bad.
But I am all about Coach Prime. I think either him or Freeze has a chance to get this job, and it would be a home run hire for Auburn either way. That's my opinion. If they got Coach Prime, that would automatically make recruiting for Georgia and Alabama struggle.
Yes.
There are fights that Coach Prime's going to win there, and they recruit the same guys. Matt Rule, I don't know about him. I just don't. He strikes me as a Big Ten type guy. Like Nebraska would do well to hire him. Hugh Freeze, he's hokey enough to pull it off over at Auburn. He could do the Auburn family
used car
thing.
salesman.
Yeah,
he is. I think they wrote the show. What's that HBO show that they wrote about the evangelical? What is that?
What?
Anybody? Righteous Gemstones?
Yeah, there you go. Righteous Gemstones. I think Hugh Freeze was a huge inspiration for that. Righteous Gemstones.
Hugh Freeze just re-signed a new contract. Does anybody know what his buyout is at Liberty?
It's probably the total amount. I imagine that's what they did. He might have an exception to move up to go from G5 to Power 5, but I don't know. Hugh Freeze with no Freedom of Information Act is where he needs to be. That doesn't mean he's not going to try to take the Auburn job. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's true, Stacey. Saban wasn't that bad. He just abandoned his team in the middle of the night. So I can see why Alabama would be attracted to Kiffin next.
He left in a bad situation, but they were getting better. That had he stuck it out, I think he would have done okay and had an average NFL.
This is the flip side with Saban at Miami is they were turning on him in the media and the influencers the same way they did against Urban Meyer. Any little things. Nick Saban was mean to an NFL vet on the defensive line. They were doing stuff like that, and
he made a guy cry.
Yeah.
But also he wasn't ready for the NFL. But he's been in the NFL before as an assistant, so he knows the NFL. He knew the NFL.
If Drew Brees wouldn't have failed his physical, it could be a different story because they would have traded for Drew Brees.
Yeah. One thing is like if, for whatever reason, if Drew Brees passed his physical and got there, Nick Saban stayed there, Ole Miss is the 2008 SEC West champion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's a completely different ballgame. Houston Nutt might still be at Ole Miss. It's absolutely nuts to think about. Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild.
So, all right, let's talk about the game since we just spent 20 minutes talking about the coaching search. I'm glad we got Falkville talking and ready to go. So, thank you, Falkville.
Yeah, imagine you hire Freeze and a former prostitute comes out and says he had relations with Freeze and she was underage. Boom, a gigantic shit bomb just blew your. I mean, that's very, very possible given what he's been into already. Yeah. Now John's just getting crazy. All right, so John, I think that was the video
John.
you watched prior to us. So,
well, the good news is they hire Hugh Freeze. There's nobody that has more dirt on Hugh Freeze than Ole Miss.
Right.
Let's Google this real quick.
No, Jeb.
No.
Jeb.
No Google machine for you.
My poor computer.
shut down the Googlies. Becky, shut down his Google.
Yes, please.
Didn't Harson hook up with some chick?
I don't know, but that if he did, he should be congratulated. It's like that South Park episode where he should get his luckiest medal in the world medal. Yeah. Because that chick, very nice.
Very nice. I mean, his family life might have gone to down the crapper, but yeah, he didn't downgrade. That's for sure.
Yeah. If you're going to swing and you might as well make it worth it. So
he did.
He's not going around trying to pick up fours. Hugh Freeze hitting massage parlors.
Hugh Freeze just he's the guy that's just trolling for whatever. Mm-hmm. He's the guy. The fishing analogy is him. He's dragging the net on the bottom, just catching whatever.
So she was the only trophy he had at Auburn.
Yeah,
a heck of a trophy.
Imagine recognize Steven from Bette Midler cross chest. What
is going on?
Oh, what is going on in the chat tonight?
I think John just turned on you, Steve.
Yeah.
John.
Anyway,
okay.
Yeah, let's move
Jeb,
on.
go investigate that for us.
Yes.
How did I miss
Do
that?
not search it, Jeb.
No.
All right, we got a couple of big games, monster games this weekend. I've got them over in the games to watch. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about playoffs. We're going to get into that. And we're going to give some like bowl predictions to everybody. I've got some fancy new graphics I want to display for y'all. So, Tennessee.
Before we do that, though, this is going to be pre-recorded, but Butcher Box is a new sponsor for this month. So,
all right.
Here's a word from Butcher Box. All right, so the games.
All right.
The game.
Tennessee and
it's going to
Georgia.
be weird for all of you people on the live stream, but on the audio side of it, it will make total sense.
So Eric Ainge.
I've seen this.
Falkville, no, we didn't make the playoffs.
Oh, I have no idea what John's talking about. He's way over my head at the moment. But I'm sure I look like several people. Several people make a Billy Bob Thornton reference about me. I get that all the time, and for whatever reason.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Eric Ainge.
Eric Ainge on Twitter.
Yeah.
Tennessee fans are losing their damn mind. Just period.
Yeah, Jeb.
It's been 15 years, okay?
Dude, I go to school, right? And of course it's Tennessee week, and I teach in the great state of Tennessee. And
Rock Top,
VOLS, go Vols, go. There's a lot of Tennessee fans in my school, as you can imagine. There's a lot of Bama fans in my school, as you can imagine. We have one Ole Miss fan in our school, by the way, just so you know.
We're
and there's
over like a virus.
There's 5 dogs. My principal's a gator.
Seacoast.
And I think that's it. We have a Nebraska fan in our school too, which is unique. So, so all the kids, I've been getting hell all week. All the kids basically are like, yeah, y'all might as well just not play this game because Tennessee's going to win by Vols by 50.
Yeah, that's been going around. I don't know.
Yeah, it's. Oh, are you nervous? Oh, Tennessee, they're good. Are you nervous?
Yeah, Tennessee fans right now are acting like they're the Super Bowl favorite. I mean, that is how they're acting.
We have nothing to lose. Y'all are the defending champions. Y'all are the ones that are supposed to be good. We're having a blow-up season nobody expected. We can be cocky. If we lose, we were supposed to lose. It's fine.
But Eric Ainge
don't want to lose to us, though.
Eric Ainge says he has played in Sanford Stadium in Georgia, and it's not that big of a deal. The Vols will have no problems Saturday. That's Eric Ainge. That's a former quarterback. It's like, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, out of all of us, how many have played in the stadium? None of us. So it sounds like he knows more about it than we do.
I mean, when he played, it wasn't quite as intimidating of an environment just because I think our team just wasn't what it is now. But I asked those Arkansas players at a noon kick how bad that stadium was. They were shook. Right? Ask Notre Dame. Go ask Brian Kelly. They had 10 false start penalties when they came to Athens. Like, it's loud, bro.
They have a lot of people barking at you, too. So
you do.
Yeah.
It's the only place you can go and have grown men bark in your face.
Yeah, it is absolutely weird. Also, this is one of the few times you will ever see. If you guys are looking for history, Tennessee is the #1 team in the country. They are 9-point underdogs to the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, how does that happen?
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
But that's
#1 team in the country, and they're underdogs.
We've seen that 3 or 4 times this
season. Yeah, they got the polls. They spot on with the polls.
Yeah, they nailed this.
They nailed that one. Jeez, you're over a touchdown underdog, and you're the #1 team in the country.
You know,
because the people doing the polls aren't making these spreads. That's Vegas.
Yeah. The biggest key in this game. The key in this game. The key in this game, basically, what everybody needs to watch for. Yeah, hey, stop it. Is if Tennessee is dictating the tempo and Georgia is having to try and score and keep up with them, advantage Tennessee. But if it's vice versa, to where Georgia is moving the ball at will and Tennessee, you get the feeling to where if Tennessee misses a possession, it's over. This game could be Georgia, and it could be Georgia pretty big. Georgia is like a competent version of what Tennessee saw last week. They're going to try and do similar things, but they have better players. So if Tennessee can survive it, that is going to be the key, I think.
Yeah, Tennessee's just got to figure out a way to get a few stops early, because I think with this Georgia offense, if you let them get rolling in the first quarter, it's hard to stop. I mean, Florida learned that the hard way, and unless Georgia starts to give the game away like they did last week in the second half, where they start getting a little careless with the football, which at first interception was just one of the best plays of the season. But the other two turnovers were garbage. But if they get rolling, if they find like what I'm as a Tennessee fan, what I'd be worried about is 19. Right? How do you cover 19? You don't. But you got to find ways to make life miserable for him. You've got to have Stetson sitting back there, moving, getting off his spot, making off-platform throws, disrupting his timing, things like that, and he will make some mistakes because that's just kind of what he's prone to do. But if Stetson's dialed in, which if he's dialed in like he was against South Carolina, against Oregon early in the season, might be a long day for Tennessee. But for Tennessee, what they got to do is offensively they've got to set the tempo, right? They've got to get Georgia's defense gassed to where they're looking 4 ways sideways, and if Hendon Hooker gets going, it's going to be a tough day for Georgia, and Georgia still may win, but it's going to be a tough day. And Tennessee gets some momentum rolling. For Tennessee, they've got to hit big plays, especially on the road. They've got to hit big plays. If they don't hit big plays, if Georgia makes them 8, 9, 10 play drives and convert some of those into field goals,
8, 9, 10.
then I got echo. So
Yeah.
I think this could be, that's Georgia's key, is to make Tennessee settle for field goals and make them earn it, because Tennessee lives and thrives off big plays.
Hey, Steve, our games to watch got changed. It went back to last week's.
Oh, it did. That's
Georgia plays Florida this week, so we got a Jamboree.
Interesting. There we go.
Yeah.
No, but I agree with Corey. Tennessee's offense has just been a juggernaut this season. But everybody's been waiting, and eventually you got to feel like they're going to run into somebody that's going to figure out how to slow them down. And Georgia is one of the best defenses in the country.
Yeah, if it's not Georgia, it doesn't exist. Yeah.
Right. So this is the week that, if it's going to happen. I mean, I thought last week Kentucky's defense might do a little better. They did not. That was bad.
Kentucky, that was the most shook I've ever seen a team. Last week was. I mean, I've never seen a team just fold.
They had piss run down their legs, as Stephen says.
Is there any quarterback more overrated than Will Levis?
I could have had an answer for you, but no, there's not.
He threw for 98 yards. Yeah.
98 yards and 4 picks?
Three picks.
Yeah,
and
3
negative yardage rushing because of all the sacks.
Yeah, this was your first round draft pick and Heisman dark horse guy.
Yeah.
You really know football, guys. Good job, guys.
You really nailed that one too.
Yeah.
You can't really put too much stock into the Kentucky game for Tennessee, because they just flat out dismantled him. Kentucky folded. So it's like, they looked great, but I don't really know, right? Like same with the Georgia-Florida game. Like, you want to, they won by 22, but what could you really glean from that game? Nothing. You got past it, no major injuries, and here we go. Georgia had a major injury. Nolan Smith, torn pectoral. He's out for the season. So that's a big blow.
Yeah.
But
and for a team that already wasn't getting a lot of sacks, but
yeah,
I mean, still good at containing the run, so I don't think it's going to hurt you too bad. But
right. I mean, that's Jalen Carter back is huge. I mean, if you're going to push the pocket on Hooker, you got to push it from the inside, force him lateral, and make him throw off platform. You got to treat Hooker like you treat Bennett, as far as what kind of throws you force him into. Don't let him step into too many. Hit him, knock him down. Yeah. All that stuff.
Also, this could be a game where the legs of Hendon Hooker actually plays a little bit of a role in the game. Kirby's smart defenses have always had trouble against mobile quarterbacks. You have to figure that's going to be in the game plan this week.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And Georgia's had a little bit of trouble with the deep ball, so Hooker could have a big game, but if he doesn't, then Georgia could end up rolling over Tennessee. So
yeah, if Tennessee wins this game, this could be Hendon Hooker's Heisman game.
Yes,
honestly,
it absolutely could. I think if they get past this is the test where I'm like, okay, they did exactly what they did to Alabama, but they did it now on the road. So now, like, I'm already starting to kind of believe in Tennessee a little bit. Shout out to Kyler Kerberson and actually Bleav in Tennessee. I will really start to buy some stock into Tennessee and really take them for real if they win this game. And I will give you all the credit in the world if you win this game, because you're going to have to earn it.
Mm-hmm. Also in the chat, somebody asked, who is Hendon Hooker's backup? Just asking. The backup would be Joe Milton, and he's the perfect quarterback if you need a quarterback to throw the ball 40 yards. Because he can throw the ball 40 yards. If you need a quarterback that can throw the ball 20 yards, Joe Milton can throw the ball 40 yards. So, congratulations.
And he's the only one in the building when everyone else is throwing stuff that doesn't want to throw.
Yeah, he was the only one, again, the Ole Miss Tennessee game last year that didn't want to throw something. Yes.
But if he's asking if his implication there is Hooker's going to get hurt, again, I reiterate, Georgia's not really the strongest pass rushing team. It's not been their forte this year.
Yeah,
Tennessee's actually been better at it.
I don't think Hooker's going to get hurt, but I think Georgia's just going to try to force Tennessee into one-dimensional and just try to get creative with pressures, I guess. they're going to cut on that film from last year and see, okay, how did we stop this tempo stuff? And
you know what Georgia needs to do? Black jerseys.
Black
jerseys.
Oh, shit, black jerseys.
Yeah.
And fake injuries, yes.
Let me say this. We've already seen Tennessee go up against probably a top 2, if not a top 5 pick in Will Anderson this year, and they pretty much shut him out. So
their offensive line has played really well. I think that's kind of an underrated part of their offense.
They have. And I really was, going back to that point, Jake, I was impressed what they did with Dallas Turner and Will Anderson.
Right.
Like how those guys were not more of a factor. And I don't know if that's just more of an indictment on Pete Golding and how he didn't try to get creative to get them involved, or if Tennessee played really well. It's probably a combination. It's probably a little bit of both. But
Tennessee ran for like 190.
Yeah.
If he would have got more pressure on Hooker, maybe he wouldn't have had time to find Jalen Hyatt wide open down the middle of the field. But who knows? I mean, and again, to me, he did it again against Kentucky last week. How are you leaving Jalen Hyatt wide open in the middle of the field? I do not understand it. I mean, you've already seen film what he did against Alabama. Kentucky had that film, and they just blew it.
Apparently, Kentucky's corners just don't match up.
Yeah. I mean, it was awful.
To get
I got left in the freaking dust, man.
Yeah.
I mean, scheme plays a whole lot of part in it, Jake. There's a lot of times where those guys are being put on islands.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
A lot of those guys can't survive on an island by themselves. Their survival skills. Oh, it's a Riddler.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Helms cannot survive on an island by himself, and we kind of seen a little bit better game planning in the Mississippi State game last couple weeks ago.
Anchor down.
So
I guess we're going to see if Keely Ringo can survive on that island, because that's really all we got. But the Georgia's defense needs some of those big plays. They need short fields. They need special teams things that happen that flip possessions, and they need to steal a possession. I mean, Georgia's going to have to get a little creative in this one. I'm not saying they can just go out with the same game plan they've been going out with and be able to steamroll Tennessee like they have in the past. They're going to have to figure some stuff out. They're going to have to score. They're going to have to score first and foremost. Their defense is going to have to stand tall.
So it's like high school.
Yeah, Michael Williams is going to have the game of his freaking life because he's stepping in for Nolan Smith. So the one good thing I'll say about this defense is it's good that Kirby rotates a lot of guys in meaningful situations, because these guys are a little bit more ready to play than at most places.
Let me say one more thing about Tennessee, and I'll let Steve and Jeb talk. But if they do get past Georgia, they got to go to South Carolina, and then you have to play Vandy, which y'all haven't beat Vandy in like 5 years. So I mean,
that's the game you got to circle.
Right, exactly. So that is the game that you pretty much got to win.
Even when you're number one, we can still make fun of you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And just
hey,
to point
5-5 against Vandy in 10 years.
Hey. All right, that's
they
really,
split
seriously
equal
just
opportunity
altogether.
Vandy has 3 wins. 3 wins in the last 5 years, and all been against Tennessee.
I hate you guys. No, look. Are you asking why Tennessee is number one, yet still kind of an underdog? Is because I think the college football playoffs really look at resumes, and Tennessee has got just a great resume this year. And this is what makes me feel better about this game against Georgia, because they've had games like Pittsburgh where they went to overtime and still had to win it. They had games like Florida where they were up big, they allowed Florida to come back, and they had to buckle down at the end to win the game. And they've had games like Alabama where it was just a dogfight the entire game, and in the end they were able to pull it out just barely. And I love the experience Tennessee's gotten and how they've grown through all this. And
winning in a hostile road environment at LSU.
It just dominated LSU, in LSU. Yeah, you're right. So it's just it's a great resume. They have 2 wins over top 10 teams in the college football playoffs. Nobody else can say that. I think Georgia has the Oregon win, which was really good, but it just shows you how good they can be. But Tennessee is just they're ready for this game. And they're not going to, obviously they're not going to be overlooking Georgia. They didn't overlook Kentucky like everybody was afraid they would. They dominated Kentucky. It's going to be a great game. And I'm surprised Georgia's favored by as much as they are, honestly.
I really am too. I thought it was going to be a 3-point throw the bone to the home team line.
Definitely.
So somebody in the chat said, "I can't believe UCF beat Cincy. If I'm Auburn, I'm calling Fickle. If I'm Auburn, I'm calling UCF's coach."
UCF has a dude, doesn't he? I think he'd do really well at Auburn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He drives a bus. He's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he even likes Waffle House.
Yeah. Fit right in.
Anyway,
Fickle is waiting for one job and one job only. Ohio State.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's change.
Until then, he'll dominate the Big 12.
Let's change over to the other game to watch, and that is the Alabama and LSU game. Alabama is like a 13-point favorite in Tiger Stadium. It's a night game. This is an important stretch for Alabama. If they survive the next 2 weeks and they win the West, they will have earned it. Because going to Tiger Stadium, CBS game against Ole Miss, this is going to be a little bit of a gauntlet for those guys. And I think Alabama has what it takes to beat LSU. And honestly, I think Ole Miss and Alabama is going to be playing for all the marbles next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree 100%. You know, it kind of scares me in a night game at LSU because, I mean, that stadium's always rocking. And you know, Jaden Daniels has actually surprised me this year. You know, he's gotten better each game. And, you know, he's going to be a little challenge for us because, you know, we have struggled in the past with mobile quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. And so I think Brian Kelly's record against Alabama is like 0-4. So, I mean, I'm not really scared about that. But, I mean, he's going to have him ready to go. But it's going to be a good game. And, of course, Alabama struggles on the road as well. So,
hey, Jake, before this goes off, it says I asked you a question earlier about Jermaine. I'm assuming he means Burton. Is he the real deal? Is production below Bama poor?
I think we went and got him in the transfer portal because we needed somebody with SEC experience from the guys returning. I mean, Jacoby Brooks was the only guy that had any experience of wide receiver in SEC games. And
you would think he'd make some big plays. Like he flashed a lot of that at Georgia where he was kind of just wide open at times down the field. And you thought you would get that at Alabama, and you're not.
No. I mean, our freshmen, you know, receivers are doing a lot better than some of our upperclassmen are. So, you know, we're really excited about them. Kobe Prentice and Isaiah Bond. So,
yeah, you guys are excited about Isaiah Bond?
Mm-hmm.
He looks like he has a little bit of juice to him.
He does. Yeah. So,
you know, my question. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I don't think, as of all the receivers right now, we don't have a John Metchin. We don't have a Jameson Williams that can just take the top off. Now, they're saying Harold could be that guy. He got in the field a little bit last week, but, I mean, I still think he may be dealing with some injuries, so he may not be 100%. But, I mean, Bond could be that next top guy that could do that, you know. So
I think for Alabama they got to find some semblance of a run game. I mean, 27 yards if I'm not mistaken against Mississippi State is unacceptable.
That's terrible.
You got a weapon in Jahmyr Gibbs. Use it. Because you ain't got John Mechie. You ain't got Jameson Williams. Use your run game to create. That's what
it's Ball's fault.
Yeah. But you don't have a run game at Alabama right now. And even whenever they're putting up massive yards, it'll be like 18 carries, averaging 3.5 yards a carry, and then 2 80-yard touchdowns. And everybody's like, well, Bama ran for 200 yards. I mean, that is their seed. Jahmyr Gibbs breaking out 2 big runs. They ran
but they should be better.
300 yards against Arkansas. They ran for 300 yards against Arkansas. 2 80-yard Jahmyr Gibbs touchdowns and a 80-yard quarterback. Yeah.
Jalen Milroe.
Jalen Milroe. That's 240 yards. The rest of the game, they rushed for 60. But in the stat line, it looks like they ran for 300 yards.
Right.
I mean, this is not last year's Alabama team where you could play murder ball with Brian Robinson just over and over and over again. Yeah, or Trent Richardson or Derrick Henry. Those guys aren't there. And if you tackle well against Alabama, that's the most important thing. And on my show a couple of days ago, I said the most important thing in Alabama game is tackling well. Do not let Jahmyr Gibbs get loose. If that happens, you're playing a lot of drop 8 coverage and everything. That's going to help you with Bryce Young. That'll give you a chance, at least defensively. But do not let the running game go off.
Yeah, I mean, that's an indictment of what Alabama's offensive system has become. They're reliant on big plays, which it should not be. I mean, I'm not saying go out there and be able to play murder ball, but you've got to be able to help yourself out. You've got to be able to scheme yourself into good situations and know what you have. Like, Jahmyr Gibbs is not Brian Robinson. We know that.
Yeah.
But you have to play and you have to plan like Jahmyr Gibbs is Jahmyr Gibbs, which is outside zone, screens, get him out in pass routes, use him the way he's intended to be used, not like he's Najee Harris, not like he's Brian Robinson. He is not those guys. He's different.
You know, the problem that Alabama has running the ball, though, is like a team like LSU, they're going to have the speed to get sideline to sideline. A team like Ole Miss, they won't running backs to go outside because they have to speed
RPO
to run
it.
them down. Yeah,
RPO it. Use Bryce. Use whatever.
Unless they get inside zone going against Ole Miss, Bama could be in a little bit of trouble that game because Ole Miss's offense is just going to run the ball on everybody. I mean, they've ran for 400 yards 3 or 4 times this year.
Yeah.
And John and Stacey both said in the chat, it's a Bill O'Brien problem. I mean that.
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah,
that,
it is.
There's
It
no
absolutely
other
is.
way to say it.
It absolutely is.
Jake's
I mean,
next Auburn coach, Bill O'Brien.
Yeah. We was at the Mississippi State game, and I don't know. I know it's not game planning, but it may be. But it seemed like that second quarter, we just went completely away from the run game.
It's not game planning. It's adjustments. Like the pre-script is good.
Right.
Like their game planning is good, but once they get off script, it ain't pretty.
You know, it almost is a situation where Bill O'Brien can't really coach off a feel. You know, that it factor that like Lane Kiffin has and Steve Sarkisian has the ability to do. Bill O'Brien can't really do that. His script's going to be really good, like you said, but as soon as you get off of that, all of a sudden it's just going to get wonky. And Jamison Williams last year and Bryce Young bailed them out.
It's going to get clunky. Yeah. It's going to get disjointed, and it's going to get very robotic and systematic, like he's reading off a card and not actually watching and feeling the game.
Yeah. I still think Nick Saban is kinder and gentler the last couple of years because nobody likes Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have said this on I have said this on mine and Stacey's show, Todd Talk Live, a couple of times, but I know Bryce Young is a special player, and I know he's going to be probably the first overall pick in the NFL draft. He is a special player, but Alabama in the past has been run the ball, run it down your throat, and make you stop our run before we go to the pass. And now it's like reverse. We just pass it, and then we may sprinkle a run in every 20 plays, once every 20 plays. It's just backwards, in my mind.
There's got to be more balance.
Right.
I have a theory, but I can't prove it because Alabama's so talented. Without Bryce Young, Alabama's just a very, very good team. This isn't 2020, 2019, those Bama teams. They're just a step back from what they were. But Bryce Young kind of masked that because he's just a generational quarterback. Mm-hmm. That is kind of my theory.
I mean, he threw 455 yards against Tennessee. Yeah. I mean, he was the only reason we was in that game.
Yeah, he was extremely impressive.
Yeah, he's so good. He is. Yeah. Y'all would have lost to Texas without him too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That corner Stetson on that play. It's a game over.
I saw somebody ask about Pete Golden too. How do y'all feel about him right now? Because really, I was looking at that. Alabama's defense has had a great season outside of the Tennessee game.
Outside the Tennessee game, but there was no adjustments made at halftime in the Tennessee game.
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
Yeah, I was going to say, well, what can you do with Tennessee's offense? I mean, nobody's found a way to adjust to it yet. We'll see if Georgia can this weekend. But
Yeah,
Everybody else has.
we'll see.
But that's probably the game plan for Saturday night. Beat LSU with Bryce Young. That beat Ole Miss with Bryce Young.
That can't. It's not going to sustain. Like you've. It's not going to. I mean, it's going to. I don't know. Like you've got to figure out. You've got to figure out what your receivers are good at. They haven't figured that out under Bill O'Brien. I don't think Bill O'Brien knew who the receivers were past John Mechie and Jameson Williams. That's becoming glaringly obvious. But if you knew what your receivers were good at, you could be good at it. Like there's a lot of teams that live 90% of their passing game is quick game. Why stick, slant bubble, slant out, seam hitch, stuff to get the ball out quick. Alabama hadn't figured out what they're good at in the passing game. That's also a problem.
Besides
when they had Tua, they knew the double slant RPO off buck sweep was going to be a huge play. No matter who was running the slant. I could have been running the slant. It would have gone for big yardage. Like, it didn't matter.
Same way with Matt Jones.
It
Matt
didn't
Jones
matter.
just hit Devontae Smith in the slant, and he was gone.
It didn't matter. It really – you could have had this group's receivers with Sark, and y'all would be much better in the passing game because he would know actually how to attack this thing. Like, it's a scheme-wise, it's a comfort fit. It's something weird is happening with Bama, and a lot of it is Bill O'Brien. And then I think Pete Golding is trying to make up for it because Pete Golding was good with Sark. Yeah. He was good with Sark because he was comfortable. Like, he knew that the offense was going to do their thing, so he could take more chances. Now he's not taking those chances.
Well, you know what they say? Pressure makes diamond, or it can break.
Yeah.
Or it breaks pipes. I mean, it can go either way. And
pressure's bursting pipes here, I think.
Yeah, that secondary now has a little bit of a confidence problem because of what Tennessee did. And Mike Leach, perfect matchup for Alabama because anything that is thrown short, if you want to play the passing game within 5 to 10 yards, Alabama will eat you up. They've done that for 15 years. There's nothing that really works. But if you want to beat Alabama, throw the ball downfield.
Yeah,
and
I agree with that.
And Jalen Daniels is going to throw the ball downfield. Jackson Dart is going to throw the ball downfield. And I don't care what anybody says. This is just a weird game, but so is Robbie Ashford. I don't think Auburn's going to beat Alabama or even be in the game, but he's going to test that secondary. And if there's confidence problems and he happens to be on, all of a sudden it's a weird game like last year.
One thing about our secondary is Eli Ricks finally got on the field and he shut that side of the field down against Mississippi State. So maybe he will, have at least shut down one part of the wide receiver. Just got to get the other side buttoned down.
Yeah. And Will Anderson, good player, kind of a disappointment this year. I mean,
you ain't telling me nothing.
Well, people are scheming. Like it's weird. Like,
but Dallas Turner should be making plays if you're scheming for Will Anderson.
And he's not even doing that much.
So the scheme is ultra conservative. This is the most conservative Alabama defense I've ever seen.
It's weird. It's just weird. The next 2 weeks for Alabama are going to be legit. If they make it through these 2 weeks, they're going to be all right. But the next 2 weeks are going to be difficult for them.
Yeah.
Well, one thing about our defense, and I've noticed, is especially on our third downs, we love to throw on blitz and everybody like 3rd and 7, 3rd and 10 situations. But every single blitz, you have Henry To'oTo'o start creeping up to the offensive line. Well, everybody knows he's coming on a blitz. I mean, you've got to scheme better than that. You don't need to send him, quick. You just need to let him sit back and then go. Like after 2 or 3 seconds, let him go.
Has To'oTo'o gotten better in the RPO game?
He's gotten a lot better this year.
Okay,
he's gotten better at diagnosing it.
Yeah,
because he's good enough. He's good enough to slow play it and react both ways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's good enough to recover, and that's a big help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I really watched Will Anderson versus Tennessee, and he really has become a 2-trick pony. Speed rush the outside, spin move back to the inside. Yeah, but Tennessee gets rid of the ball so quickly it kind of renders him useless. So they have
everybody has done that against Bennett this year.
They have to figure out other ways to get him involved.
Talking about Will Anderson and Dallas Turner and everything, LSU has two true freshmen at offensive tackle. I think that's relevant.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That is relevant. That's very relevant.
That could get ugly real quick. But Daniels can run, so.
Yeah.
Daniels can run. Jaden Daniels. They figured out how to use him. Finally, they figured out, hey, Jaden Daniels is actually this.
Somebody on our chat says, Golding is my cousin. Not kidding. Ole Miss guy and brilliant. My brother was with him at Delta State.
Congratulations.
Right.
Yeah.
You can have him back.
All right. Hey, it's about time for it, Corey.
It's about time for what? Picks. Yeah, I'm sure Golding is very brilliant. You don't get to be the defense coordinator at Alabama and not be brilliant. But there is something to some weird vibe of I've never seen a team this conservative. It doesn't make any sense. There's something going on.
I think it's because they can't figure out their offense, and that is freaking out Nick Saban. And he is not willing to take as many chances on the defensive side of the ball because he has no idea what the offense is going to do. It could be 3 and out. It could be a 12-play drive. I think it's freaking out Nick Saban. But let's do picks.
All right.
Picks. All right. So again, just to let you guys know, we are SEC After Dark on the Bleav Network and on the All Conference Network on the video side. Stephen Willis, Corey Burton, Jeb Beecham, Jake Thomas, and our very own voice of God, Becky Willis, are going to be with you in this pick segment as we go through our games. So I promise not to give you any more Iowa football, so you can rest easy knowing that we will not be picking Spencer Petras.
I got that.
You nailed it, dude. You nailed it.
Yeah, but you trying to screw us in the Ole Miss pick.
That was a computer glitch. I'm an old guy with technology.
Oh, now you're old. Okay.
Yeah, you gave it to yourself, but everybody else who also picked Ole Miss, you said we did good.
I'm sorry.
We all
I got it
Ole
fixed.
Miss.
Yeah, it all got fixed.
Okay. All right.
I think I'm excited for Becky's picks today. I have no idea what it is. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. Well, let's start with Becky. All right. So, Becky, you're up first.
Voice of God.
Voice of God, you're up first. Okay, we got Kentucky -2 traveling to Columbia, Missouri to take on the Missouri Tigers. These all of a sudden red-hot Missouri Tigers coming off a huge upset of the South Carolina Gamecocks. Becky, is this team that's limping into Columbia, can they cover this 2-point spread, or is Missouri the key?
Okay, so Halloween candy didn't exactly spring me forward and do me right on my picks. Wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. So this week I thought I needed to learn a little bit more. So we're all going to learn, and we're going to do a little pop quiz, guys. Can you tell me which one of y'all knows, first one that answers is the winner, what school gave Bear Bryant his start in the SEC?
Kentucky.
State. Oh,
Kentucky.
SEC. Oh.
Kentucky.
Cheb, you're a nerd. I love it.
Useless information with me. This is not going to go well.
Well, did you know, be honest, did you know that the University of Missouri is the first ever college to have a football homecoming?
Yes, I did know that. They invented homecoming. Yeah, I knew that.
Golly, you're a dork. All right. Well, I'm picking Missouri because everybody has a homecoming now, and that's pretty cool.
Turn his mic off.
You're a dork. Becky's like, you're a dork. Where's Ed Reed?
Yeah. Where's that Reed? Yeah.
Y'all live awful close to Miami. Just saying. All right.
I've been planning a trip. Don't worry.
All right. So, is that it?
Just going Missouri.
Yeah, go Missouri.
Okay. All right.
What order are we going in?
Jeb, you're next.
Oh, I get to go next. All right.
Just going to go you, Jeb, then Jake, then me, then Steve.
It was definitely interesting last week because Missouri played really well and Kentucky played very, very poorly. But I still think Kentucky, even as playing as poorly as they did, are still in the position we kind of thought they'd be at the beginning of the year. I think they're going to finish the season 8-4, maybe third in the SEC East, which is just basically what I thought anyway. because they are a good team. I think they're going to come back and beat Missouri. It's going to be barely because Missouri's got a good defense, but at -2, I'll take Kentucky to cover.
That's all they need. Jake?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm picking Kentucky. I think they need to get back on track a little bit. Missouri, like I said, is red hot right now, but I just talent-wise, I think Kentucky's a better team, and it's a 2-point spread. I mean, I don't see it coming down to a safety game, so I think at least Kentucky wins by 3.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even though it seems like Kentucky's limping in, and you look at that game last week, and it was just so ugly. I still think they're a good team. They still did some good things early on. They just got demoralized, and Tennessee does have a tendency to do that to people. So I'm gonna stick with Kentucky. I still think ultimately they're the better team.
Mm-hmm.
In this game right here, Elijah Drinkwitz is like a play away against Georgia and a running back that didn't fumble the ball, stretching it out in overtime away from being like 6-2 at Missouri.
That's wild.
Missouri is actually having a decent year. They just kind of messed up a couple of times. So I'm going to go with MIZZOU right here. Go Missouri.
Mizzou. Mizzou. All right. So our next game matches up Texas 8-4, or Texas 4-8 at this point. They are hosting in College Station the Florida Gators. Texas A&M is 3.5-point favorites at home against the Gators. Brand new freshman quarterback. I told him play the kid. They did.
We told him.
They played the kid.
Mm-hmm.
We told him. Yes, we told him play the kid. All right, and they did. They almost won. Play a lot better. Becky, does Florida have what it takes to pull this upset?
I'll let you know in just a second. But first, can any of you four tell me where the name The Swamp came from?
The Everglades?
The fact that Florida is in a swamp? It's not the Everglades. It's because the Everglades is south.
Yeah, south of Willis.
There's another kind of drive through it every year when I go to Naples. I can't remember the name
I'm gonna stop you right there, buddy. Let my nerd husband talk about his football boyfriend for just a second.
Yeah, Steve Spurrier said when he got to Florida that this place should be the swamp because only Gators get out alive.
And this is true. Very good. Very good.
Their nickname is that new? I did not know that.
It is Steve Spurrier. Yep. So hang on though for Texas A&M. Do we know how Reveille came to be a part of the crew at Texas A&M?
They couldn't find a cooler dog.
Oh, I have stumped all four of y'all.
No clue.
All right, well,
It's A&M. I know Jack Diddley do about A&M.
Hold on to your butts because this one's amazing. Yeah. Reveille was a small black and white mutt originally, and he was found when a group of Texas A&M band members hit him on the way back to campus. They ran over a daggum dog. But they took him under his wing, adopted him, and now Reveille's still going strong. And because they're massive dog lovers, I'm going with Texas A&M.
All right, then.
Okay. All right. Yeah, there we go.
I did not know that.
No clue.
Did you know that A&M has the largest marching band in the country?
Yeah, that makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
did
a
not
cult
know
down
that,
there,
but
so.
yeah, their marching band is massive.
And they're terrible drivers.
When I Googled the University of Florida, I noticed one thing. They got their nickname, the Swamp, because when I drove through Gainesville, I got swamp ass. Oh, Army! Whoop, whoop.
Oh my God.
I drove through there yesterday, and that is true.
Jeb,
All right.
they're not lying.
No, I feel like I think I'm going to go with A&M in this one just because I feel like A&M has actually found something with this freshman quarterback. He's not bad. They've got the great athletes, the ones that aren't quitting on the team already. Florida just seems to be going the wrong direction to me, so I'm taking A&M to cover.
Jake?
I'm actually taking Florida, and I'm doing it from the heart because I really want to see if that old money, if anybody wants to pony up that $90 million buyout that Jimbo has. So I want them to lose out. I know they probably won't, but I'm hoping Florida at least covers.
But don't they need 3 or 4 to even be playoff eligible? It's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All money. Let's go. Let's hit that buyout.
Yeah.
All right. So Florida, we can tell they are very short on talent right now. That's glaringly obvious, right? Thanks, Captain Obvious. But one thing they showed me was they got down 28-3 last week, and they fought their, what's off in the second half. They made play after play after play. They fought and clawed their way. They cut it to a one-score game in the third quarter before Georgia pulled back away and almost covered the 22.5. They were half point away from covering. But don't let the score of that game fool you. It was 28-3 at one point. It was a one-score ball game at another point midway through the third quarter, and Florida showed me a ton of grit. I think their arrow, it doesn't appear that way because it's in a pile of Dan Mullen manure, but there's an arrow deep in that pile that's pointing upward. So they just got to uncover that arrow, and they'll be fine. They fought their swamp asses off.
That's good, cuz.
And that's why they're going to cover. They fought their swamp asses off. So, I like their grit, man. They're just there's something about them, man. I like Billy Napier. I think he's going to ultimately do a good job.
Too.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with Texas A&M in this game. Connor Weigman, he looked good. There was some stuff that they looked all right doing last week against Ole Miss. Offensively, I think Weigman's able to put off. And also, Brenton Cox and somebody else is no longer on the Florida team. They did not make it this week, so take it for what you will. But I'm taking the Aggies.
All right. Our next game is going to take us to. I'm drawing this out really bad. It's going to be the game of the week. I was trying to make it seem less exciting, but Becky, the Georgia Bulldogs, 8-point favorites now. They were 8.5 earlier this week. I guess that line has dropped to 8 even. Tennessee comes rolling into town as the number 1 team in the country, and somehow the underdogs nailed it. Becky, does Georgia cover at home, or does Tennessee pull the upset?
Well, guys, we got some really 2 badass facts for the game of the week. General Neyland. Is it Neyland or Neeland? Don't want to disrespect the man.
We got killed on TikTok about this. This Neyland.
All right, General Neyland. Do you know what he retired out of the Army as? What rank?
Brigadier General.
Oh, son, coming in strong. What does that equal to in the Navy?
Admiral?
Rear Admiral, lower half. It's an 07. So that's pretty
also
awesome.
known as a Commodore.
Mr. Commodore, that's right. He served in World War I and World War II. So how in the world can Georgia beat a World War I and II veteran, right? I can tell you how. Corey, do you know who Georgia defeated in their first football game in 1892?
Yale.
Oh,
no, sir.
I don't know that one.
Steven doesn't know. Mercer College. 50-0. Georgia defeated them.
Didn't they give Auburn?
Do you know what happened right after they defeated Mercer College 50-0 in the first game in 1892? Do you know what happened?
Mercer disbanded.
Ding, 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 son. Now Mercer just plays basketball. They don't even do football.
They do football.
That's awesome. Oh, shush. It ruins it for me. Let me have the illusion. Anyhow, that is a super badass fact, so I'm 100% behind Georgia in this one. Sorry, Jeb.
Okay. All right, that's good analysis there. Love it. Jeb? We know who you're picking, but why?
General Neyland. Oh. No, again, Tennessee's offense is just a juggernaut. I am going to pick for them until somebody stops them. I will admit, this week is by far the best chance anybody's had of stopping that juggernaut that is our offense. But I just don't think so. I mean, if you shut down Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman's going to step back up. He's ready to jump back in the lineup. Brew McCoy is a great possession receiver. They run the ball a lot more than you think. They just, they don't live on the run like, Ole Miss is just destroying everybody running the ball. Tennessee doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But they run enough to set up their passing. I love their offense, and I just don't think anybody can slow it down. I'm taking Tennessee to at least keep this close and have an Alabama-type game, 34 points. Which way it goes, we'll see. But Tennessee covers.
Jake?
Yeah, I'm with Jeb. I'm with Jeb. I think it could come down to a field goal, and if that's the case, either way, if it's a field goal game, then Tennessee covers at least. So I'm going to say that Tennessee will cover at least.
It is a lot of points. I will give you that. But I can't pick Tennessee. I just can't do it. I cannot do it. I can't do it.
Well, no, you
I can't
wouldn't.
do it because I'm a homer, right? Don't. So, and here's why that I'm picking Georgia. Georgia is number 4.
Because you rep them.
I rep them. Yeah, okay. That's a big reason. But Georgia, they're right behind Tennessee in total offense. They're ranked 4th in time of possession. They're ranked in the top 10 in most categories defensively. Sacks and tackles for loss, they're ranked pretty low, which is concerning. But Tennessee's ranked 82nd in time of possession. I think Georgia does a good job of controlling the clock. I think if they allow themselves to control the clock, then they will come away victorious in this game. So I'm picking the Dogs, and I'm picking them to cover because go Dogs. Steve.
That is an excellent pick. And I will go further. I think this is the game that Hendon Hooker looks human. When Hendon Hooker just looks like a good quarterback and not the Heisman Trophy winner. On the road in Sanford Stadium, everything going against Tennessee. I think this game is something where Georgia could win 38-24. That type of thing. I'm going with the Georgia Bulldogs.
All right. Our next game. Liberty.
This is the game of the week.
Liberty. They travel to Fayetteville to take on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Who picks Suey? All right, Arkansas is 13.5-point favorites. Becky, what you got?
All right. Who can tell me what the Arkansas Razorbacks were called before they were the Razorbacks?
What else is Arkansas known for? Pig farmers?
I know
Pig
it's not the
suey.
bug.
Yeah.
I know it's not the bug eaters because that was Nebraska.
I thought that was the corn
You
huggers.
guys
Mountain
disappoint.
climbers.
They were the Cardinals. The
Cousins?
Cardinals.
Oh, Cardinals.
What?
And I know, that's a little...
Yeah.
Which
even-
two famous NFL legends were roommates at the University of Arkansas?
Darren McFadden.
Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson.
There you go, Steve. I knew Steve would come in.
Yeah.
I should
Don't
have.
you try to save it for him?
I was trying to preface that with anybody but Steve answer this question because they made a documentary about it on SEC Network.
Well, even the almighty powerful Google couldn't find anything fun to tell me about Liberty, so I'm going with Arkansas in this game.
They have
Liberty
good
has a
insurance.
used car
You
salesman.
should have been
this
more
year.
recent if you wanted fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I know Ole Miss history, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Liberty's got their own fun. The fun that happened at Baylor followed up to Liberty.
No, fun, not horrible.
No, it was like didn't
Fun.
the president used to like to watch the wife cheat on him?
Oh, it goes beyond that too. So
Yeah,
it's a whole layer.
there's a documentary on Hulu.
It's got definitely Dan Snyder vibes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeb.
All right. I don't have anything to add.
Follow
to
that.
Yeah. No, I'm picking KJ Jefferson and Arkansas to cover that spread. So I'm just going to leave it there.
Okay, Jake.
Yeah, no analysis.
One interesting note about both of these teams, they both have played BYU this year, and both of them have absolutely destroyed BYU. So there's something in common they both have. And I think this is going to be a really fun game. 13.5-point spread. I feel like Liberty can cover that. I don't know if they can win outright, but I think they can at least cover.
Screw Liberty. They ain't covering. Woo pig. A fun fact about BYU. Auburn likes to hire their coaches now from out west. So say hello to Kalani Sitake, your next head coach at Auburn University. That's the most interesting part about this game, Steve.
Yeah, I think that this could be relatively interesting, and people should pay attention to what's going on because Arkansas has been known to struggle with teams, and they had a big game against Auburn last week, and I know, big game against Auburn, I get that. But
Liberty they got the coach fired.
Yeah. Liberty has the ability to sneak up on you. Their only loss this season is a 1-point loss to Wake Forest. They're 7-1. I'm taking the Liberty Flames to cover.
All right. Our game of the week. Is this a CBS doubleheader?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so, man.
Okay. So I was going to say it feels like it. All right. So Alabama, 13.5-point favorites on the road at LSU.
No, it's not a CBS doubleheader this week. Next week's the doubleheader.
Next week's doubleheader. That's right.
This would be
This is
the prime
ESPN, I
opportunity.
think. Yeah.
This would be the prime opportunity. Well, Alabama's 13.5-point favorites on the road. Becky, is that 13.5 points tempting to take LSU at home, or is it time for Roll Tide?
Well, let's consider it. So, Hey Fightin' Tigers, one of LSU's signature band songs. We're all familiar with it, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that it was originally written for a musical starring Lucille Ball? That's kind of fun.
Oh.
That's kind of fun. But, Jake, looking at Rammer Jammer, did you know that y'all stole that from Ole Miss? That the cadence
I'm
was
sure.
stolen from Ole Miss?
Because we stole the lot pattern from Georgia, too. So, I mean. We're all
And you
about
stole
stealing stuff in
Dixieland Delight
Alabama.
from Tennessee.
Yeah.
So.
That's right.
Yeah.
But the band name's Alabama.
Y'all even
Yeah.
took
But
our
you
marching band director
thieves.
and then copied our cadence to have Rammer Jammer. But I'm still going to go with Alabama on this one.
No LSU trivia?
Lucille Ball.
That wasn't trivia. That was a fun fact. I was going to answer some trivia.
Oh, you needed some trivia.
Okay, I got something. Do you know that LSU's color was going to be yellow, purple, and green, and why they are purple and gold now?
Mardi Gras.
It was going to be Mardi Gras colors, but whenever they went to the place to buy the uniforms, they were out of green jerseys. They only had purple and yellow, and that is why LSU is purple and yellow.
Nice.
Mardi Gras. Fat Tuesday. All right. So, Jeb.
I think a lot of us thought the hire at LSU was a good hire. It was just going to take a little while for them to get going. He's actually done a really great job when you look at what all's happened this season, outside of just getting beat down by Tennessee. Outside of that, just great. They've been really good, and I really like the direction LSU's headed. They're not going to have much fall off. They're coming back. The problem is they're playing Alabama this week, and I need to catch up in the rankings, and I don't pick against Alabama if I want to catch up in the rankings. So I'm sorry. I've got to take Bama to cover. Until they stop covering, I'm going to keep taking them. Except when they play Tennessee, obviously.
Right.
Yeah. Understandable. Jake.
All right. Alabama struggles on the road. This is a big-time game, and usually down in that place, Tiger Stadium, it's a nightmare for teams. Alabama's been really good there in recent years. They've won, every single time they've gone down there and played most of the time, especially under Saban. But I would like to see Alabama get back on track and be more dominating like they have in the past. And I feel like this is a good game to do it, especially when you've got everything in front of you. We already know you've got to beat LSU and you got to beat Ole Miss to win the West. So we've got two big back-to-back games. I know Saban is going to have the guys fired up, ready to go. I just hope they can execute on the field, and I just feel like they win this game by 14 to 17 points.
Yeah, for me, it was very, very tempting to pick LSU in this because it is a lot of points. It is Death Valley. They are playing a lot better. Alabama has their own struggles that they're dealing with, but but it just something about this feels like Alabama's just gonna rip the Band-Aid and just say, screw it, we're going all out. We're not going to be conservative anymore. And defensively, they're just going to unleash hell.
Mm-hmm.
So give me Bama. Roll Tide.
All right, this is a huge deal. Alabama needs to beat LSU. If Alabama beats LSU and handles that business, it sets up the most massive game to be played in Vaught-Hemingway Stadium in 20 years. Call Katy Perry, get them all back. Game day, CBS Game of the Week, 68,000 people in that stadium. That's going to be an all-time record for a crowd in the state of Mississippi. SEC West on the line. It is going to be massive. It's going to be huge, and Alabama can't let me down. I got too much Tide in me this weekend.
Roll Tide.
Nice.
I got too much Tide. I got too much Bama in me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, you're not allowed to go to Ace Hardware's lawn care section. Just so you know.
No, not even a little bit. And definitely can't go to Auburn.
Definitely not allowed in Auburn, Alabama.
Not even a little bit.
Not even across state lines. Okay, so South Carolina, the Gamecocks, was once red hot. They cooled quickly down by a bucket of cold water poured on them by Missouri. But they are going to look to regain some confidence here in Nashville against Vandy. They're 7-point favorites. Becky?
All right, so back to the pop quiz. Vanderbilt, their last league title was in what year? The last league
1482?
title for Vanderbilt was in what
1938.
year?
Their coach was Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, 1492. Yeah.
21.
On the
was
Santa
in-
Maria.
That is horrifying, Stephen. It was in 1923. Very close. Very close. Yes.
You know, okay, you want to hear something very scary? Had I been a little quicker, I would have said 1920. I was going to say 1923.
Yeah, I believe you. I completely buy that.
Yeah, I believe it, Corey. Yeah. I
Corey
believe
was going to say that too.
Definitely
All
going to say
right.
that.
All right, you other three, it's time to redeem yourselves. South Carolina's Williams-Brice Stadium is just one of two stadiums in FBS to do what? Or to
To
be
be
what?
featured in a movie called The Program.
No.
Oh.
I mean, they were.
It's in the South Carolina Fairgrounds, and the Cotton Bowl is the other one.
No.
Oh.
It is just one of two stadiums to be named solely for a woman. Martha Williams Brice. That's right.
Interesting.
But yes, and do you know why it's named after her?
She played football?
I'm assuming she donated a ton of money.
She bought it. She donated a crap ton of money for renovations for the stadium. So we're going to discount that and go with Vandy on this. Poor things, 1923.
Nice.
All right.
Well,
I was closest, John. All right. No, I was because I thought 1923, so I was spot on. Okay, so Jake or Jeb. Jeb.
If Vandy wants to get an SEC win, this is probably their last really good shot to do it. So I do feel like they're going to be up for this game. But at the same time, if South Carolina is going to be bowl eligible, this is probably a game they have to win as well. And South Carolina is the better team, so they're not going to overlook Vandy or not play the best they can this week, I think. I think South Carolina will do everything they can to make sure they get bowl eligible and not have to put it all on the line against Florida. I think it's Florida the week after this. So I'd say South Carolina definitely wins and covers the spread.
Jake.
Tennessee still has to play Vandy. They got a chance against Tennessee, so don't count out the Commodores getting that SEC win. But anyway, back to this game. I think South Carolina gets back on track. Vandy and Missouri, when they played a couple weeks ago, that game was absolutely terrible to watch. Missouri ended up winning. So Vandy, I just don't know. They're kind of an odd team right now. I just think South Carolina can do enough to win this game.
Yeah, I think so too. I think defensively, I think they're going to do enough to limit Vanderbilt, even though AJ Swan is a rising star at the quarterback position. But Vandy just doesn't have enough in the tank, I think, to last four quarters against South Carolina. I mean, South Carolina doesn't have a ton in the tank either, but I think they have slightly more than what Vanderbilt has, and that'll be the difference, especially up front. Steve.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think South Carolina's going to take this. Remember last year, South Carolina needed a miracle drive in Williams-Brice to come back against the Vanderbilt Commodores and win that game. That gives me pause that South Carolina can cover a 7-point line in this game. But I do remember the big plays that Vanderbilt's defense gave up. I think Marshawn Lloyd gets it going. They do just enough defensively. So give me the Gamecocks.
All righty. So, Auburn travels to Starkville, Mississippi to take on Mississippi State. Mississippi State is 13-point favorites against Auburn with new interim coach Cadillac Williams. Becky, hit us.
All right, guys. First answer wins. Don't let it be Steve. How many nicknames has Mississippi State had in their history?
38.
7.
Official nicknames.
Oh, I was trying to
No, 4.
10.
4.
2.
10.
3. They have 3.
thinking it.
So Aggies, Bulldogs, and
Anybody? The Maroons.
the Maroons.
The Maroons when they were Mississippi State College.
Yeah, they were originally Mississippi A&M.
Yeah, who knew it could get worse? But apparently it was
Jordan.
at some time.
So,
So they was
he didn't know
Mississippi
Georgia's
State
the oldest
4-8?
school in the SEC. Yeah. I didn't know UGA was the oldest school in the SEC. They're the oldest school in the United States. First state
Really?
university, 1785. Yes.
That's pretty neat. Ain't you
Yeah.
fancy?
Founded
right,
in
well.
1785. So they're the oldest
That-
state
that
college
actually
in the United States of America.
Yeah, Tennessee
That
was
actually
1789.
predates the United States of America. Because that's 1789, the Constitution.
Yeah. So in the
Tennessee was
United Colonies of America, prior to the Constitution, the whatever we were the United States of
Articles
something.
of Confederation.
We were the United States of whatever.
I think it was pronounced British. Y'all were British.
Because we're the United States.
They had won the war.
Oh my goodness, before Becky says, your band's called the Redcoats.
It's all starting to come
Oh.
together. It is all starting to come
My
together.
goodness. Oh.
Okay, let's move along. Auburn. Take away the 3 Heisman winners in Auburn's past. I think it's 3. What is their coolest connection to the Heisman?
He coached there. John Heisman.
He did. Very good, Corey. Win. For bonus points.
19. He was there before Georgia Tech, so it's got to be 19, like in the 1920s.
I was gonna go with
1925.
17.
Well, you guys are too young. 1895 to 99. John Heisman,
Oh,
coach for Auburn. I think that's pretty neat. I'm going with Auburn on this game.
That is pretty cool. Jeb?
I get what Steve was saying about wanting Cadillac Williams to win, or maybe it was Corey. One of y'all was saying about them wanting.
I think that was Steve, but I agree with him. So, yeah, you can give me credit.
And I do think that Auburn will play hard, but Auburn's that's just such a mess right now. And Mississippi State, they had a rough game against Alabama. I think they come back in this one and actually cover. So I'm taking Mississippi State. And scene.
yeah. I was waiting on Corey to bring me
Jake?
in, but yeah.
Jake, you know the order now, so you could just.
Yeah,
it's-
yeah.
We're adults here. We can popcorn
Yeah.
in.
All right. Yeah, Cadillac this week is going to be head coach, offense coordinator, tight ends coach, defensive line coach. I mean, they fire like half of their staff. So apparently he's going to be taking all these roles over. I would like to see him have a good game. I know he's going to get the team fired up. I almost took Auburn in this. I just don't know how their defense is going to stop Will Rogers at all. So I just think Mississippi State covers and wins this game.
I have a hard time believing that Mississippi State can cover a double-digit spread. That's why I'm taking Auburn. I mean, just for the sheer points, I'm taking the points because I just don't think Mississippi State can cover this. They're a good team. I still think they'll win, but it'll be like a 7-point game because just Mississippi State that's just how they're going to win. That's just what they do.
Yeah. One problem that we have is that teams, when they hire an interim coach, they're going to come out with their hair on fire. They're going to do what they have to do. But the first time something bad happens, they let go of the rope. And I think they let go of the rope in the second half, and Mississippi State scores a couple of touchdowns, wins the game 35-14, something like that, 35-17. And that's what they do.
Well, Ding Dong, the witch is dead, right? So Brian Harson's out. So I think they play inspired football.
Harsin is not a bad coach, though.
No,
he's not. He's just a Mountain West coach.
He'll be a fantastic coach at Arizona State.
In his return trip to Boise, because I think they're about to can their guy. He'll be great. They'll get it back. It'll be a nice reunion. Yay! He'll win the Mountain West. He's not a P5 coach. It's okay. I'm not a P5 coach either. That's okay. I've accepted it.
I think he's a P5 coach. He's just not an Auburn coach.
No. I don't know. That remains to be seen if he's
like I said, I think he'll do well at Arizona State in the Pac-4.
In the
I agree,
Pac-2.
John. Yeah.
All right, so our last game features a soon-to-be member of the SEC. So I guess you could say it's an SEC game. All right, Texas is traveling to the Little Apple, Manhattan,
Kansas,
to take on.
By the way, Superman is actually a Jayhawks fan and not a Wildcats fan, which that's got to be hard for Wildcats fans.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It absolutely is. So, Texas 2.5-point favorites. Becky, I know I threw this one on you late, so I'll be impressed with whatever you can throw my way.
Well, I'll be impressed if you can answer this. Tell me, how many colleges or universities have a nuclear reactor on their campus?
God, I hope none of them.
Tennessee has one in Neyland because their offense is obviously being affected.
Hendon Hooker's on.
Yeah.
I'm going with 2.
Yeah. Buried in Hendon Hooker's shoulder pads.
I'll say 1.
I'm going to say 3.
Jake, blow him out of the water.
25. I guess 10.
25.
25.
25. Jake, look at you. You should be a professor.
25.
Kansas State has one. And we both know, all of us know, I don't pick Texas. So I'm going Kansas State.
Well, what else is there to do in Manhattan, Kansas?
There's one on Utah's campus, and a student threatened to blow it up if they lost to San Diego State. So that person's in jail. Yeah, so I knew that. So that's the reason I said 2, because I figured it was somebody in this game plus Utah.
Yeah, that's not a very brilliant thing to do, is to threaten to blow up a nuclear reactor. It's probably not wise of you.
Yeah,
Jeb, don't Google that.
Hey, wait. I got one more. I got one final quiz for y'all. Name Kansas State's official school colors.
Power purple.
And
silver.
I was going to go purple and silver, but I feel like that's wrong.
Yeah.
Contrary to popular belief, royal purple is Kansas State's only official color. They've only got one.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
But Alabama's named
it'd be
for
hard
it.
to read the numbers if everything was in purple, huh?
I don't like monochrome, so they got to break it up.
Yeah.
Kansas State does have some of the best uniforms in the country. Period.
Love them.
Not even close.
Yeah.
So it looks like Becky's going Kansas State. All right, Jeb, what you got?
I'm picking Texas to cover this. I do kind of think Kansas State's a good team. The loss to TCU, I don't even worry about because TCU is going to win that division, but that conference. But Texas, I just like the way they play. I like their offense. They've had games they've lost, but they've not really failed to score much, except maybe against Alabama. But that's the SEC. What are you going to do? And I think they're gonna have one of those weeks where they just play a lot better than people think they are, and they're gonna cover this spread and win. Well, actually, I guess the money's on them, so they're gonna win. Yes.
Jake?
I'm picking Kansas State. I mean, they absolutely steamrolled Oklahoma State. Didn't even give up a single point, and the Big 12 is known for high scoring games, and they shut them out. And Texas has issues on offense here. I don't know, they just gave that game away against Oklahoma State a few weeks ago. So I think Kansas State's rolling right now. They only got one of their biggest losses against TCU. Like Jeb mentioned, they lost by 10. So, I mean, consider yourself playing real well if you kept, TCU within 10 points of outschool, within 10 points. So I'm taking Kansas State.
Yeah, Kansas State has not lost to a team that doesn't wear purple. Their only loss is the purple. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas State, little fun fact, because if this was a trivia question, none of y'all would get it. So a little fun fact: their offensive coordinator was former quarterback Colin Klein, and Colin Klein is calling plays so brilliantly. They just laid a 48-0 beatdown on Oklahoma State with a backup quarterback.
Yeah,
because Adrian Martinez was hurt. It was like that guy was a starter. Like they more than didn't skip a beat. They freaking rolled. So they're going to take that same momentum here against Texas, who has a hard time on defense. Quinn Ewers is going to be great. I think this is going to be a good game, which is why the spread is where it is. But I think Kansas State ultimately wins, and give me Kansas State and the plus 2.5, and I think it's easy money.
And real quick, Steve, or for you to talk, Steve, Texas plays TCU next week, so they may be overlooking Kansas State. So
it's a trap.
Mm-hmm.
Now, first of all, I do want to say I'm going to take Texas in this game. Second of all, if Auburn wants to make a splash, they'll hire Chris Kleiman, but they probably won't do that because Brian Harsin didn't fit. But Chris Kleiman can absolutely coach football. He did the North Dakota State thing for a while. Went down to Kansas State. He's turning.
Won a couple national championships there.
If you want a home run hire Auburn, that's your guy. But Brian Harsin probably means you can't hire that guy.
Right.
Yep. That is exactly what it means. So
Adam Ekbar.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
So
It's a trap.
So that's going to do it for us this week here on the SEC After Dark podcast.
So soon.
Yep. So soon, right? So soon. So we hope you enjoyed our picks. We hope if you place any real money, the way I'm trending lately, don't pick mine. So ways you can find us: you can find Steve at Locked On Ole Miss. Jeb is just a guy. Jake Thomas at Jake Thomas TTS, Tide Talk Live. You can find me at Bleav In Georgia Dawgs and also Illegal Motion as well.
Also, this show has a new Twitter account, so follow it.
Yeah, follow
at SEC_after_dark.
might want to check the names and stuff on it because I have been pointed out that my name on there is Jet Beecham, with Beecham spelled wrong. So
Jet Beat. I mean, don't you want to be Jet? That's a cool nickname.
I kind of like Jet. I'll admit.
Jet. We got Steve, Jake, Corey, and the Jet.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't I look like a
Benny and the Jets?
Corey and the Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that got changed, Jeff. I'll fix that.
Yeah.
So yes,
There we go.
take Jake's advice. Follow at SEC_after_dark, as well as YCN_SEC,
Yes.
as well at Bleav Network, as well BLEAV Network. You can follow that for the audio side of it. You can subscribe wherever you get your audio podcast to SEC After Dark, anywhere that you get your podcast, like TuneIn.
Says I'm class of Ole Miss, not
Spotify.
1803, by the way.
There you go.
It's crazy they had cameras. They had cameras back then.
Yeah, it's amazing. I look pretty good for a 200-year-old guy.
I know. What's your secret?
You know,
I look better now, Davis, right?
did you find the Fountain of Youth? Did you help Pizarro find the Fountain of Youth?
Yeah, seriously.
So
Tuck Everlasting. That's a great movie and book.
I mean, he does live in Florida. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, so that's going to do it. Find us at those places. You can check us out. You can always check us out right here on the YouTube channel. at y'all's conference network. So for Jake, for Jeb, the Jet, and Stephen Willis, class of 1803, we are SEC After Dark. I'm Captain Catfish, and we'll see you next week. Go Dogs.
Hotty toddy.
Go Vols.
Roll Tide.
So this live chat, is that
1803.
just between us?
Corey and the Jets.
Yes.